So there's this idea in startup bro and hustle culture, and it's basically start before you're ready. Start as soon as possible. Start yesterday. And I've actually been a proponent of that. I totally agree and understand that line of thinking, and I'm definitely more for that than the alternate approach. However, when trust is the currency, depending on what type of business it is that you're in, it can actually be bad advice. I think you've got to take it with a grain of salt. There is a balance to be struck between starting before you're ready and starting with the minimum viable, level of credibility that you need in order to get going. And that's the idea that I want to unpack in this video. So I'd mentioned in a previous video that I almost made this exact mistake. So I've been running the operator belief that I need to go to market as quick as possible. I've already validated the services I offer through my previous business. It's not that there's any product risk. It's I just need to get into sales, get to market as quick as possible. But in reality, with that, I set a date of 1 October as the date that I wanted to have everything live and basically launch outbound sales and start firing off DMs and trying to get the new work through the door. And what's actually happened is that there was about a 19 day delay in actually getting the infrastructure ready to go live. We went live on about the 20th of October. And then in addition to that, now I still haven't actually started firing the outbound DMs yet. And I anticipate now that that's probably going to start on the 4th of November. So that's roughly like a 34-day delay, which is at first glance, that's totally unacceptable. By my standards, I'm what the fuck have I been doing all month? This is ridiculous. But I wanted to unpack, why I actually have sort of rationalized, this is actually okay. I've lost 4 weeks or 5 weeks of compounding momentum, but it's been like a leverage installation period, and I think that had I not done it, my results would have been far worse than what I'm likely to get now. So I wasn't waiting for perfection. That's definitely something that I've been very conscious of because I am a perfectionist. I've been trying to avoid that at all costs. But I also was I don't want to launch this with half-baked systems and not have full confidence and conviction that, for example, I fire an opening DM. The most likely scenario is there's going to be significant latency in the process before that actually results in me doing any work for a new client. But there's also an off chance that I might get a response yeah, this is exactly what we need, let's jump on a call, and it might happen within a matter of days. And in a best case scenario, but also a worst case if you're not prepared for it. Because of that, and also just for my own sort of confidence, you're on the spot when you're doing outbound sales. You're the one reaching out saying, hey, I know you've got this problem, we can solve it for you. If you don't fully back yourself, it's going to come across. It's going to be obvious to the person you're reaching out to that this person's full of shit. And so for me, it's I can't bullshit. I have to, in order to be confident and come across confident, I need to back myself. I need to know yes, I can solve this problem. I've got the infrastructure in place to solve this problem. And if you say yes, the problem's going to be solved for you, I've got the whole process is basically ready to go. I think there's just a huge difference between being emotionally ready and being commercially ready. The whole notion of start before you're ready, just basically whack up a website and go in one day. It's it came from startup bro minimalism, hustle culture. And while it does have some merits, I'm not going to lie, it's you should start before you're comfortable because you're never going to feel comfortable. You always have to put yourself out there, but not before you can actually keep your promises. If it's all smoke and mirrors and there's nothing behind it, then you're just going to blow up. You're going to nuke your opportunity. You're going to burn your leads, embarrass yourself, and it's going to result in things like botched first impressions. You might get a little bit of money, but things will break. You'll have dramas. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So really what I did is I found the balance between being a perfectionist on the one hand, and I could have spent the whole rest of this calendar year, and actually going back to June, that was my actual plan when I first scoped this business plan. I was it's going to take me, X amount of months to develop all of this to a perfect delivery standard. So I'll do that for the rest of the year, basically go dark, and then I'll launch outbound in January. And I realized as I was in motion through the planning process that was actually not a good strategy because it would almost certainly result in me over-engineering, and I'd be much better to, in fact, go to market with MVPs and then refine rather than, build in the cave. I've talked about this a lot on the channel, so I won't go into detail, but yeah, I really reached that conclusion. And so what it meant for me is that I developed MVPs for each product, just the absolute bare minimum. And then because I have existing clients from my fractional CFO business, my old consulting business, what I did was I actually battle tested the templates. I didn't waste too much time. It's just like, once developed, I put real client data through them and really tested them in a real world scenario to go, okay, yep, this works, this adds value. And like, I probably will also run some live demos since I've already built those, but it's now given me confidence and conviction that, okay, while we've burned 34 days doing this, now I'm starting from a position of strength. We'll find out in the next month or so whether it was all worth it, depending on the results we get, but I'm very confident that had I done this earlier, it would have came across in the way that I interacted with people. I don't know. Some people can just bullshit their way through everything, but I'm not one of them. I feel like I have to be standing on a solid foundation. So what does it actually mean to be credible? Well, I think it's, you put up your front end, which is what the clients see, your website, whatever it's going to be. It might be your storefront. Then really you just need something to support whatever promise it is. Whatever problem you're saying, yo, I'm going to solve this for you. You just actually need to be able to deliver on that. That's it. It's not that complicated. It doesn't have to be in its end state. No, by no means, and it shouldn't be. But there should be not just a smoke and mirror website which says, here's what we solve, and then there's you behind it, and like, ChatGPT wrote the website copy for you, and you actually have no idea about the solution that you're even offering. You're just totally winging it. Like, that's very dangerous, and that'll blow up in your face, most likely. So if you take the approach of the hustle culture approach and just race to revenue with basically nothing, assuming that you're successful in your sales process, which you may be able to be, you get the quick dopamine hit, you get the money, and you think, oh my God, this is working. And then your back end doesn't support that and it breaks. And then as a result, you basically blow up trust with your clients or your customers, and you destroy the business before it even has a chance to get off the ground. And if you contrast that with the slightly slower but still fast approach of MVPing, you find that the MVP actually doesn't blow trust. It means, it might take a little bit longer, and we're not talking about months, we're talking about 2 to 4, maximum 6 weeks of delay. But it means that when you actually, when you fire the first shot, it's like you're not wasting bullets, and it's slowly but steadily going to compound. That's the plan. That's the idea. So that's been my process, and it really does raise the question, how do you actually know when you're credible enough to start? Because perfection in this process is actually impossible, but then winging it is suicide. The way that I think about this is relatively simple. There's 3 things that need to be true in order for you to be truly ready to start from a credible foundation. The first thing is you need some proof of delivery, of your ability to deliver. And all that literally means is that you've done the thing. Whatever it is that you are saying that you will fix for somebody, the problem that you will solve, all that it means is you've done it once, just one time. It could have been for your friend, it could have been for your mum, your dog, it doesn't matter, but you actually have proof that you can do it. It's not just a hope that you might be able to do it if someone bites. It's like, no, you've done it. Tick that box. The next thing you need is you need proof of a process. It's like the fact that you solving that problem wasn't just a one-off. And usually you get these things at the same time, but there's some examples where that may not be the case. And so you really need to know that you have a repeatable system that can deliver that outcome on a recurring or repetitive basis for multiple people. It wasn't just a one-off fluke occurrence. And so you may know that from doing it just once, or you may need to get a couple of reps in, whatever the case may be. It depends entirely on your business model. But I think that that's important. And then the third thing, which sort of surfaces from those 2 things, is that you then have conviction. You have proof of conviction. You become confident. You can talk openly and confidently about it in a sales context, knowing that full well that you've delivered it and you can deliver it again. And if you have those 3 things, you basically have baseline MVP credibility. You're ready to go. You're ready to pick up the sniper rifle and start shooting your shots. If you don't have those things, then the whole thing is built on a very fragile foundation. There's too much risk and hope in the model. I think the truth is, every time that you deliver before you sell, you stack proof. And every time that you sell before you actually deliver, you stack doubt. Credibility compounds. And what I mean by that is that when you have proof, when you feel confident, you close deals faster. The whole process just flows smoother. Also, you can recover faster when things go wrong. And speed really only compounds when the foundation doesn't crack. And I feel like credibility really is that foundation. It's what we've been discussing. So if we take a moment and really zoom out here to what I guess is the lesson in all of this, I think the truth is that the internet rewards noise. You can really, and you see this all the time, you can fake something online very easily. There's so much noise in the system, but clients don't reward noise, they reward proof. And they find out pretty quickly if you're full of shit. Like, there's plenty of examples of people faking momentum online, putting up a whole bunch of bullshit and saying, look at us, we're amazing. It's like, but when it comes down to it, when you're sitting in a boardroom, when you're doing that presentation, showing, the solution that you've delivered, there's nowhere to hide. You can't fake it. It's either real or it's not. And if it's not, then it's going to hurt. And really, I think that was, for me, and I did this almost subconsciously. I almost just subconsciously put the brakes on and was like, what do I really want here? Do I want to go to market at full tilt and have this shit break under my feet? Or do I want something that 6 months from now is still standing strong, rather than, in 6 days it's snapped in half? That was why I slowed down and just took just a little bit more time to pull this stuff together. I think really starting fast and early is what got me out in the first place. It's what got me out of the 9 to 5. It's what got me into this position. But now starting credible is what's going to keep me here. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. I drop one like this every 48 hours, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.